Hello everyone, this is Numero Uno Superfly here, back with more Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. We last left off with Yuri and Natsuki as we learned that they need to have some balance in between, you know? But they're still good friends. So, let's see what's up with Yuri and Monica. Here we go. Am I bothering you? Hmm? No. Okay, just checking. It's hard to tell since you always look into it when you're reading. It makes me scared to interrupt. Well, it's within my expectations to be interrupted whenever you hear. It's mainly when I'm by myself and I don't like it. That makes sense. I guess if you're here in the first place, then I'm all ready to socialize, even if it takes a little bit of prodding. It's not so bad to be social if I let others do the work, so it can be healthy to put myself in a social environment every now and then. It's mostly difficult when I don't know anyone, or there are too many people, or everyone is being too silly for me to keep up with. Yuri glances over across the room at Sayuri and Natsuki. Sayuri has her head cocked back and her mouth open, trying to catch pieces of a cookie that Natsuki is lobbing to the air, but the pieces keep bouncing off her face and hitting the floor. Maybe I should say something. No need. They just ran out of cookie. What a waste. They're really becoming good friends, haven't they? I'm happy. Sayuri seems particularly good at making that happen. But the two of them are both on the energetic side, so I suppose it works out well. Yeah, come to think of it, you and I haven't had any chance to talk one-on-one, have you? Though that may be partially my fault, since I'm supposed to be the one engaging in on those. Not at all. I'm probably formed the habit of drawing minimal attention to myself. The responsibility is equally on me, at least to display some openness to engage. Well, what about during times like lunch? Do you meet up with friends? I just read. Oh, but I like it that way. It feels nice to be cured off again after a morning of classes. Do you always read fantasy? Oh, not always. I suppose it's all I've read recently, only because I'm in the middle of the series. There are still 2 more books after this one. I guess those long books suit you well, since you spend so much time reading. Well, fantasy may be my favorite, but after all, I'm more or less discriminate to genres. I'll read anything with depth and maturity. Oh yeah? Even like romance? Well, there are a lot of books that have elements of romance in them. Oh, come on, Yuri. You know what I mean. Monica lowers her voice. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, so I won't tell anyone if you do. Maybe more when I was in middle school. I mean, I was really lonely, and people were mean to me a lot. So it kind of felt like, please don't make me think about the past. Silly, it's got super curious. You know, we should totally pick up the romance one for the lead. That'll be so much fun. Absolutely not. Really? Even if it's just between us? Try asking someone else who has no shame, like Natsuki. Ouch. Sorry. I swear I didn't mean like that. Well, I guess it was my fault for messing you. I'm like that for things in my past, too. You know, things I feel too embarrassed to be expressed. There's nothing wrong with going out of things. It happens to everyone. For instance, Natsuki's interest in manga reminds me quite a bit of how intense I used to be about my own interest. It makes me think that she'll likely grow out of it, too. Hey, were you talking about me? No, we were just talking about how the interests have changed over the years. When did you get that back, Natsuki? Like a couple years ago, I guess. I was already sort of into it before that, but I wasn't really going hard until then. But yeah, what's that's ready to get more into it? I don't know. I guess, let me think. It was after I discovered a series that I really liked. Yeah, I was just like, really fed up with a lot of things, and I got super into this one series I really related to. I guess I had an ancient phase where I just hated everyone around me, wanted to be by myself. Hey, kinda like Kitty. Monica. Silly. That's completely wrong, so it's still cool that you're both really funny thing. They're almost like opposites. But sounds like they helped you a lot through the hard times. You know it. Oh, what the heck? Is that book even bigger than the last one you were reading? It's technically slightly longer, but not very much. How are do you think it would go if you stacked up the whole series? Natsuki answers by holding her hand high above her head, sizing up an imaginary stack. I should get one of those magazines that's like 50 volumes long, so I can say I've read more than you. Not that I have the money for that. Please, I would hardly count when your books only have a few words per page. I know, I was just joking. I can never actually read books like yours. It's too boring for me. Yuri shoots a glare at Natsuki. It's not boring. Chill. Except for me, not for you. I can have my own opinion. I just think it's too convoluted. Silly. Are those from the floor? Gross. Also, wash your hands before touching any of my books. Oh, my hands aren't dirty. Just do it. The oils are there even if you can't see them. Fine. Yuri trots out the door. Natsuki follows. Yuri, you look a little upset. What kind of nerve does she have to call my hobby boring? Well, she did collect herself. Curly, she was so condescending. I don't mind if she thinks I'm not for her. If it's not for her, I already understand that it's not for everyone. But she knows well how much these mean to me. So how about just leaving me alone instead of easily telling me the things you hate about it? I'm sorry, Yuri. You may be right. This won't be the last time people have strong feelings about what they like and don't like. Especially in the literature club. So, I just gotta have to meditate discussions to keep them positive and constructive. For the record, I always been impressed with the level of creativity in your books, and also your ability to get through them so quickly. Thank you. Okay, well, this is something that we'll have to think about and revisit. I'm sure I can help Natsuki find some more common ground with you. Common ground isn't necessary, and I just wish to be respected. But then, either way, I'll do my best. I'm skeptical when it comes to Natsuki, and I trust you, Monica, when I'm skeptical. Oh, look at this new music. Yeah, the music's pretty catchy. Okay, everyone. We have a special club meeting today. As you know, the literature club is a place where we get to share things that we're really passionate about. But it also means we should be mindful of how we respond to each other's feelings. I think we have a chance to turn our differences into positive energy for each other. I'm just being a little dramatic about this. This is important to me. Well, sorry. I just feel like I'm being accused or something. No, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm sorry if I keep on that way. But the conversation yesterday maybe really reflected the power of language. That will be a good topic for the literature club, don't you think? I'm sure we're going to have differences in opinion, so I need to make sure we have a plan to keep a positive atmosphere in the club. If you say so. Sure. The cool thing about language is that it gives us a little different ways to express this idea, an emotion. We have a little control over how we want the other person to feel when we receive that thought. This goes for poetry, narratives, casual conversation, basically anything. For example, Cieli, what's your favorite food? I have them organized by category. Should I start with snacks, or do you mean full meals? Should I include breakfast? Oh jeez. Okay, how about your favorite fruit? That's easy, cherries. Really? I used to cherries that they're nasty. What? Cherries are delicious. Whoa, that's pretty strong reaction. Well, I just don't understand how somebody could think cherries are nasty. How does it make you feel? I don't know. Sad? Defensive, maybe? Yeah, I get defensive. See? The reason you had such a strong reaction wasn't just because I don't like cherries. It's because you felt like your opinion was under attack. But that's weird, right? Something like taste is completely subjective. But when I say something like, I think cherries taste nasty, I'm using objective language. I'm telling Cieli's reality and that cherries are delicious with my own, which is that cherries are nasty. Wait, hold on! How is that objective when you just said it was only your own opinion? It has to do with the way our brains interpret the words. You're talking about the reality of the cherries, not your feelings about them. Like, Cieli, let's rewind for a second. I'll pretend I didn't tell you that I think cherries are nasty. Good. So, what if instead of that, I said like, I enjoy cherries, and then that for me. It's not the kind of flavor I enjoy. Well, that's fine. As long as you don't call them nasty. Nasty is a nasty word. Okay, so cherries was the kind of a weird example. but I think it gets the point across. This time around, instead of talking about the chilies, I just talked about my feelings, and sincerely didn't get defensive. So, instead of clashing with each other, it's like we received an invitation to talk about the differences. Silly, you don't need to take notes. I'm not gonna quiz you or something. I know that. It was just... Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. You can do whatever you like. But does anyone have any thoughts so far? Yeah, I just feel like I shouldn't have to put all my language through a filter just to protect someone's feelings. Well, you don't have to. The choice is yours on how you want to come across to other people. I'm only suggesting as a tool to help turn your differences into a positive experience, rather than an argument. But really? Whatever you say, Chariotator. Whatever you say, Chariotator. Oh, that sounds better. Oh, come on. Sorry, I actually like cherries. I was just saying that to demonstrate. What the heck? I've been duped. I'm sorry, Sadie. I'll pick up to you later. How about a chili sundae? You're welcome to do me anytime, my beloved president. Buying your people's loyalty. How deplorable. Oh, like you would turn down a free sundae, Yuri. You were solely a fan of those cupcakes I brought in the other week. I was reading and not keeping track of them. Oh, that's enough. What a good off topic. So now that we have the gist of it, I thought we would try with something more relevant to the club. Like the manga, right? This time to have a productive discussion about the differences in opinion. Dilly, do you want to start? No. I'd rather not, no. Oh, how come? Well, because I don't see how anything productive could come from that. It's just going to start a fight. No, it'll be fine. That's why I'm here to moderate. Let's just have a calm and rational discussion. Yeah, give me a little more credit. I'm not a child. You don't have to calm my feelings. I always think it's more respectable to just speak your mind. Respectable? Yuri's expression changes at that word. As Monica recalls, being respected was the crux of the matter for Yuri. Well, the point of the exercise isn't like, it's fine. I have nothing against anyone personally. You're entitled to enjoy whatever it is you like. I just prefer more depth and nuance in my reading material. I like for stories that are imaginative and sophisticated beyond the surface level. Oh, well that's just a misunderstanding then. I thought you were going to say that manga's for children or something. Like I don't hear enough of that. Well, there's plenty of deep manga. Now, I'm not clueless about manga. I read my own fair share when I was younger. What? Are you serious? How come you never told me? Because I'm past that point in my life. I really prefer not to revisit it. I prefer more mature things now. Excuse me? Okay, hold on. Can I jump in here? Let's make it subjective. Because if you imply that manga is immature, then aren't you implying that someone is immature for being intellect? Well, maybe it's immature to judge people for having different tastes than you. Natsuki, nobody's immature. I've read Natsuki's manga and Yuri's fantasy, and I love them both in their own way. Okay. It's great that you like it, but I still find it boring. Boring is subjective. Okay, it bores me. That's subjective. But, I mean, think about it. This is ridiculous. You see why I didn't want to participate in this. I knew it was going to make people upset. I'm not upset. Like I said, I don't care what other people think. But I always get the impression that you're secretly look down upon me. So I'm glad my suspicions were confirmed. That's not true at all. You're making assumptions. You can't blame me for getting defensive when nobody ever has the least bit of respect for the things I'm into. The only thing I look down upon is when people make fun of me for just being myself and trying to mind my own business. What? Have you looked in the mirror? Tell me again about respect after calling all my interests immature. You can't. Please stop. Please. You don't mean the things you're saying right now. Let's just be friends. I didn't mean for this to happen. Well, it did. So please don't invite yourself to try and solve other people's problems next time, okay? Yuri's piercing words send the clubroom into a choked silence as she gathers her things. She leaves. Holy crap! I never heard her sound like that before. She must be so pissed. Well, you weren't very nice either, so. I was just saying. How did this happen? It's my fault. Really was wrong. I shouldn't have tried to mother a conflict when I know how bad I am dealing with conflicts. I wasn't really It was really a stupid thing for me to do. It's nobody's fault, and it wasn't stupid. Everyone in the club is a nice person. Nobody would have expected this. But I guess we're sensitive about the things we really love. Honestly, she kind of brought it upon herself. Like I said, I don't care if you're not into manga, but if you actually look down upon other people, but I don't care if you're not into manga, but if you actually look down on other people for it, that's kind of the point I was trying to make in the first place. It's not about sugarcoating things. It's about just recognizing and understanding our differences. Okay, but here's the thing about that. Yuri actually looks down on me. It has nothing to do with her word choice or anything like that. So I see what you were trying to do, but I really think the problem here is her. Not just like the way she would talk to each other, right? I mean, Yuri isn't like that. She's a lot sweeter than you're giving her credit for. I'm sure she'll be reflecting on this. I actually think everyone should. It'll be fine. I'll figure something out. Well, I'm just like saying that instinctively. I'm just letting myself to cause more problems. This wasn't your fault, Monica. You don't have to beat yourself over it. If you ask me, it's good that the truth finally comes out. Because I can just move on now. But, it's fine. I promise. Let's just get our mind off this, okay? In fact, it's a good opportunity to read some manga without having to worry about feeding Yuri's superiority complex. Don't be mean. I'll talk or read manga whatever you want, but don't be mean to my friends, okay? Sorry. I'm just bitter. Everything will be okay. I mean, I don't have the answers, but I at least know that we're all good people and don't want to hurt each other. This will be a learning experience. Monica says that, but her uneasiness is given away by how much she has to force the reassuring tone in her voice. This was bound to have happened eventually. Natsuki and Yuri have always engaged with each other, the least out of anyone, and this is the reason. As Yuri and Natsuki proceed to distance themselves from manga, Monica sighs to herself, unable to shake her worried thoughts. Will the club really have to just come to terms with the fact that some members will be incompatible with each other? Monica desperately doesn't want to admit that, and she knows Sayori doesn't either. But for once, a solution doesn't seem to be in sight. Wow. Alright, let's keep going. I'm sure there's more to it. A new day arrives. Sayori arrives at the clubroom earlier than usual. That is, not late. As she enters, it appears to be empty still. So, she sits down at a desk and pulls out a sheet of paper, trying to jot down her thoughts. Sayori has made a habit of scribbling her thoughts and feelings into paper whenever possible, as it tends to serve as her best inspiration for poetry. My heart feels vacant because the ship sailed away. Yo! Natsuki! Natsuki pokes her head out from behind the closet door. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. But it would have been a lot more awkward if I didn't say anything. I doubt you want me listening on your poetry thing. Yeah, thanks for realizing that. Should I let you finish that up then? Oh no, I wasn't. I mean, I just do whatever is convenient. You're not interrupting. Where's Monica, by the way? Oh, she's out in the hallway. Huh? Why? Well, just in case she runs into Yuri. Sometimes Yuri's too nervous to come into the club by herself, so... Oh, jeez. Does Yuri really let things bother her for that long? She can't control her feelings. For some people, it's really hard to cope when you get a bad thought in your head. Maybe you could distract yourself for a little while. But as soon as it's just you and your thoughts again, it comes back. Huh? I just want us to have a normal club meeting. It's a lot easier to pretend like it never happened if we all just ignore it and move on. I don't want to be bothered by this. It's so stupid. Her opinion to me doesn't matter anyway. Besides, it makes me feel really guilty. And I hate that too. It's okay to have feelings. It doesn't make you weak. Let's figure this out together. Fine. Only because you're good at this stuff. Let's try to come up with a happy scene. Maybe that will help us understand where your bad feelings are coming from. Well, I was happy the way things were before we had that conversation yesterday. Oh man, sorry about that. I'll read it again. Well, I was happy the way things were before we had that conversation yesterday. What part of the conversation made you upset? Was it Yuri being mean about the manga? Maybe. I doubt it though. Because my friends and other people make fun of manga all the time, but I just brush it off and ignore them. But something about it really got to me this time. I hate that I'm letting that happen. Is it because it came from Yuri? No, why would that matter? I mean, well, maybe. I hate that she thinks she's so much better than me, just because she likes to pretend to be all sophisticated. Yeah, that's what it is. At least other people decide that they don't like me, or me or whatever. But Yuri acts like she's too good to even give it a chance. I'm sorry. Everyone deserves a chance. Yeah, exactly. Would you give Yuri's books a chance? Ha! After this? Obviously not. What about before this? Well, I would until I got bored, which wouldn't take very long. But if you actually keep an open mind, it's not hard to realize that a story can be deep and meaningful without being needlessly complicated. I see. But you know, I like Yuri's books. Yeah, but you like manga more, right? So Yuri shakes her head. I like them both. I like them in different ways, but I like them both. I mean, the manga, it's really honest and fun and easy to just let go with. And the fantasy has a lot to interpret and uncover. It's really rewarding to have some good quiet time together with it. But the most important thing is that both the manga and the fantasy are true to themselves. So, I love them both. And I think there's room for both of them to be in the same club together. And I just feel like maybe they have more in common than you would think. How do you get along with everyone so well? I always get into fights with people. Like first it was with Monica when I was in the club, and then it was with you. And now it's Yuri. I'm always like, oh, that person's being such a jerk. And then just realize that, man, we can at least get along. But nobody else has this problem. I just keep running away from the reality. That he was just a jerk to me because nobody likes me. And I don't know why. I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I hate it. Natsuki. Yuri puts a comforting hand on Natsuki's shoulder. You're a wonderful person. You deserve to be loved so much as everyone else. Everyone has different ways they like to communicate, you know? And sometimes that makes it harder for us to understand each other. I think that sometimes we get lucky, and we make friends who are really good at the same kinds of communication. And it feels like you magically communicate with them, magically connect with them. But other times, even if both people are really nice, it's easy for them to misunderstand each other, or to get the communication wrong. It's something that Yuri struggles a lot with too. It can be really hard. It takes a lot of reflection, and self-awareness, and vulnerability. I'm bad at that one. Vulnerability. I always have to be stronger. What do you mean? Tell me about the part of you. Well, it sounds stupid, but I'm really used to people being mean to me. Oh, really? Like, my friends, I guess my dad. Like when I don't get good grades, or even stupid things like if my room isn't clean. So what am I gonna do, cry about it? If I let myself get upset, then it's just letting them win. I'm better than that. I'm better than all of them. So, things always have to be everyone else's fault. It feels like if something goes wrong, there's even a tiny hint that it might be my fault then. I just get really angry. And I find ways to blame myself, to blame everyone else instead. Do you see yourself as better than Yuri? If I said that, then I would just sound really full of myself. No. Our thoughts and our feelings are two different things. Even if we don't like our feelings, We have to understand that them if we want to learn more about themselves. That's a powerful vulnerability, you know? Accepting that we have feelings that we don't like. I I hate that. My feelings make me a bad person. Because my feelings just want to tell them I'm so much better than her. That she's a judgmental know-it-all who's stuck in her edgy phase, and I'm just way above that garbage. I'm terrible for feeling that way. You're not terrible. You are not your feelings. But you are not your feelings. Say that to yourself out loud. Fine. I am not my feelings. The way that I like to picture it is that those feelings are like your roommate. You live in the same house, and you gotta see each other every day. And even if you ignore each other most of the time, you're gonna run into each other every now and then. And it's gonna make you feel like poop. So, the other option is you get to know each other. You can communicate and learn from each other. Maybe even help each other change for the better. Does that help you understand? How do you know so much about this stuff? I just have a roommate that can be really hard to get along with. Called depression. Depression? So... Wait, let me finish reading. But you're like the happiest person I know. I am not my feelings. I want to be a good person like you. Aw, you little sweetheart. We're all good people. You and Yuri and Monica. And I think Yuri will eventually learn that about you. Natsuki remained silent, feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Despite Yuri's kind reassurance, a complicated mixture of pain and sadness seems to fill her. As though flowing from a wound inside her. Was it a result of her vulnerability? No. It wasn't as though she was inflicted a wound after becoming vulnerable. It was as though she began to rediscover an old wound, one that could not simply be bandaged and left alone any longer. Sorry about that. Look at the new background scene right here. Really? What are you doing all the way over here? Oh, looking for you. Hey, please don't yell at me. Oh, I'm not going to yell at you. I just wanted to say honestly about what happened yesterday. It was unfair for me to put everyone on the spot like that. Next time, I won't just try to jump in and solve everyone's problems. I guess it's a bad habit of mine. You're not mad at me? I thought you were the one mad at me. That was so awful yesterday. Yuri curls up, recalling the details of the argument. I can't even have a normal conversation without saying something wrong, making everyone upset. Hold on, that's not what happened at all. Let's talk about this, okay? Yuri pauses for a second, then manages a nod. Monica takes a seat next to her on the staircase. I'm having a lot of negative thought patterns, and I can't get away from them. What kind of negative thought patterns? Like everyone hates me, especially Natsuki. Oh, that's terrible. I don't think Natsuki hates you. How do you know? Well, because Monica thinks back to the time that she herself found herself in an altercation with Natsuki, and how a display of maturity from Monica was enough for Natsuki to reevaluate her own feelings as well. I think Natsuki is just naturally defensive. I think she acts mean when she feels the need to protect herself. But you know, she's really not a bad person. In fact, I think she could really be thoughtful and considerate. She just... Well, I guess the way it works is that she wants to receive some degree of kindness first, before she feels comfortable returning it. Oh, but that means the burden is on me. And I don't know how to say things that makes people like me. Every time I open my mouth, I just... Yuri shakes her head at herself and tugs on her hair. It's okay, Yuri. You don't need to beat yourself up. I think anyone would like you if they had the chance to get to know you. Well, unfortunately, the opposite's true. That's why I'm not talking to him anymore in the first place. Because everyone used to think I was weird and talk about me behind my back. And that's just what happens when I draw attention to myself. Natsuki even says she found it more respectable when people speak their mind, so I did, and then she hated me anyway. That was enough to confirm my fears. But, Siri and I like you. We've gotten to know you a lot by now, right? Yuri doesn't seem to have a response. Hey, what do you think of Natsuki? I don't think about her. That's not what I meant, really. I just... I was just wondering if you had an opinion of it. I do. What is it? Natsuki seems to bring out the worst in me, and I feel really ashamed of it. I like to think of myself as a fairly sophisticated person, so for someone to just treat me like I'm inferior despite my taste, that's just the worst kind of insult coming from someone like her, and it makes me think bad things about her. But everyone else seems to like her, so the only option is that it's me who's not doing something wrong again. My feelings about her are wrong. And I'm wrong to get upset over something so childish and inconsequential. No, Yuri. Feelings are never wrong. Well, they're not right. That's the thing. Feelings are never right or wrong, you know? They're just a state of being that we don't always have to have control over. But that doesn't mean they have to control us. I feel like that's something I learned well when I first entered the club. We can hate ourselves for feeling a certain way about things. Or we can, just acknowledge that they exist and try to understand them better. I could never be mad at you, or for just feeling a certain way. It's about you. It's about how you handle them. And I think working through feelings is a great opportunity for the teamwork. Yuri wears a dejected expression. You make it sound so easy. You're so mature. And so good to people. I feel like such a child in comparison. Oh, Yuri. I'm far from perfect. But these are learned skills. They didn't come naturally to me either. It's really hard to reflect on yourself and separate your feelings from your thoughts. I just want to be a good person. Well, I think it takes a good person to get this far. That's not good enough. I want to be able to communicate with her. Communicate what? How I feel. How it makes me feel frustrated and upset when she's so negative and dismissive of things that mean so much to me. And how it reminds me of me. Because I know what it's like to feel misunderstood and angry at everyone. I know that telling yourself you're better than everyone else is just a defensive mechanism. We're just people. We're fragile and unstable. But I'm just tired of that getting in the way. I can't stand it when the people disturb like this. Yeah, you can't focus on your reading when the piece is there, right? Because the literature club should be happy for everyone. Monica looks at Yuri in adoration. I feel like Sayuri must be rubbing off on me, because I really want to hug you now. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. No, I mean, well, if you want to, that wouldn't really mind, so... Monica pulls Yuri into a short embrace. You're so gentle. I love when you communicate your feelings. I feel lucky to get to see what's inside of you. And I'm sure Natsuki will too. I'm gonna write her a letter. Oh, a letter? What a good idea. Just because I'm not good at talking, especially under pressure. I always let my feelings get the best of me, and I forget to say all the important things. I say things I don't mean. Well, I think a letter would be wonderful. Such a nice way to communicate. Yuri's face hardens with determination. People don't naturally gravitate towards me like they do for you and Sayuri. My personality just isn't suited for that, and I wouldn't want it to be. But something I've learned is that friendships don't always just magically appear out of thin air. For instance, I never would have seen myself making friends with someone like Sayuri. We're opposite in a lot of ways. But I'm friends with her because she puts so much effort into understanding me so that we can get along. I think it was the same with you. You both gave me a lot of time and patience. I wonder if she feels the same way. Natsuki? Yuri nods. I always thought that if I wanted to make more friends, I had to be something that I'm not. That there's a type of person, or a magical formula that I have to follow in order to make someone like me. And that's just like me to think that. I'm always so occupied with myself that I fail to understand other people. Yuri shakes her head. Friendship happens when you think about the other person. When you offer time and effort to understand them, and respect them, and trust that they also want to be a good person. That's what I learned through my observations in the literature club. Observations? Monica is caught by surprise. Yuri has always kept to herself so much that it's so unusual to hear her suddenly talking about the club like this. But Yuri gently smiles to herself. You always let me listen to your thoughts about people. See Yuri too. And it makes me happy because I learn a lot of things. That's so sweet. Let me go back. That's so sweet. I had no idea I meant that much to you. Sorry about that. I guess my button reaction occurred. Well, enough about me. Let's keep reading. Monica never thought much of it. When the past few weeks, Yuri always seemed to be especially attentive when it came to the problems and concern of others. Always wanting to listen and learn more about her friends in the club. It's true, Yuri and Monica are naturally more comfortable with other people. They can more easily work through situations of conflict, but it doesn't make them better people. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and the capacity to improve. And the first step towards improving oneself is reflection and self-awareness. It's something that Yuri never gave herself enough credit for, but that Monica can recognize it as an incredible trait. And with that, her confidence in the club is restored. A very shy girl with long pretty hair is wandering the bustling lunchtime hallways, her fist pressed into her collarbone. When she finds the literature club president's classroom, she stands at the door, glancing all around her before peering inside. Monica is sitting and chatting with a group of unknown friends. Yeah, as expected, this was a bad idea after all. Suddenly, Monica glances towards the door, making the girl panic and duck out of sight. Before she can regain composure and decide for sure to leave, the classroom door gently opens. Really? What is the surprised to see you during lunch? Yuri squeaks in response. Please help me. What? Is everything okay? Yuri shakes her head. I don't know how to write letters. Thank goodness. I thought there was some kind of emergency. Monica briefly glances over her shoulder at her other friends. Do you want some help? We can find an empty classroom or something. Is that okay? I feel bad talking you away from your friends. It's only fine, I promise. We haven't really doing anything. One sec. Monica trots back into her classroom, says something like, I gotta go, to her friends, then grabs the pen off her desk before returning to Yuri. Okay, let's find somewhere quiet. Yuri nods and allows Monica as the two of them set off. How are you today? Huh? Me? Well, yes. Oh gosh, sorry. I was just caught off guard. What today? Just tired. I never seem to get enough sleep in the week. Oh come. Well, I don't know. I think I'm just easily distracted. I get really stuck into things and start clicking this time. Me too. I do that too. Hey, this classroom is empty. Let's go in here. After peering inside, Monica opens the classroom door. The two of them enter. Yuri's moment of relaxation ends. This must be my classroom, I think. She watches as Monica pulls two chairs off the same desk, then obeys as Monica beckons her to take a seat. She stares down at the empty desk. You know this? I don't want to do this. We don't have to. We can come up with something else. Yuri shakes her head. It's my chance to do something good. I need to take this initiative. Gosh, you must be really determined. I know how to do this is step out of your comfort zone. I'll be sure to encourage you. Yuri pushes through her anxiety and grabs a handful of lined paper from her notebook. And she picks up her pen. Oh, look at that. Looks sweet. Monica and Yuri, two ladies just hanging out writing some poetry. Oh, Yuri's left-handed. That's interesting. Guess what? I'm left-handed as well. Anyway, let's keep reading. Hey, you're left-handed. That's neat. Yeah. Now I don't have to worry about pooping your arm. Monica playfully rubs her shoulder against Yuri's. Sorry, I'm just being silly, I guess. Anyway, how about we start by listening to different things you want to say to her? Yuri thinks. I feel embarrassed all of a sudden. Ah, it's okay. How about some of the things you said to me yesterday? But, never mind. I guess I'll try. Yuri thinks up for a moment longer, her tension evident. Then, she writes the word reflection. It's about reflection on our behavior. The key question is why we act like this towards each other, but we have to be able to separately be friends with Sierra and Monica. It's me. Yes, it is. So, Yuri thinks. I've been able to befriend the two of you because you've taken the time to understand my needs and respect my interests. The same goes for Natsuki too. We started out as pretty hostile to each other because I was so worried about getting what I wanted, but she just wanted to be respected more than anything else. Once, I said to myself, I said to make it all about me. She was able to do the same. I want to do that too. So what kind of things do you want to do for her? I want to do the same things for her that I like to receive. I like it when people respond positively to the things I talk about and not just brush me off. I like it when my feelings are taken seriously. And I like it when you and Siri trust I want to be a good person, even when I'm not good at doing a good job at it. Let's write the things down. Okay. Yuri writes some things down. I think the most important thing to remember here is that Natsuki is feeling vulnerable, so we should make sure that the letter puts her first. It's hard when you're feeling hurt, but it never helps to just tell someone all the things that they're doing wrong. I think first you have to make sure that they know you're ready to respect them and listen to them. Admit the things that you feel you could do better. And finally, you ask what you'd like in return. How does that sound for the structure? It could be 3 paragraphs, one for each of those points. I like that. My thoughts were so disorganized, I had no idea how to come up with any kind of structure. You're so amazing at these things. Oh, stop. You've done so much more than I have, you know? You spent so much time reflecting and being open-minded. That's the hardest thing for anyone to do. All I'm doing is helping you put it in a piece of paper. So, I think you're amazing to me. You're an amazing one. Monica gives Yuri's hand a quick squeeze, but as she lets go, she's caught by surprise when Yuri curls her fingers to hug Monica's hand in place. For a while, they sit like that in silence, save for the occasional scratching of Yuri's pen against the paper. Yesterday, you told me something that I'm thinking about a lot. What was that? The thing about how feelings aren't right or wrong, and that they're just a state of thing we need to come to terms with. It made me think about how a person's behavior isn't always just how they decide to be. It's also made of their past experiences and their insecurities. I think that helps me see other people as actual people, rather than as significant side characters who are out to get me somehow. Is that how you felt about Natsuki? Yuri nods. But in reality, everyone is always trying their best, and everyone wants to be happy. Monica peers over at Yuri's paper, but to her surprise, Yuri pulls it in closer, partially covering it with her arm. I have to be able to read it to help out, you know? It's okay. My thoughts are a lot more organized now, after being able to talk to you about it. Now that I'm actually putting it on paper, I realize I really prefer others not to read it. Yuri laughed softly to herself, a rare expression. I'm kinda glad to hear that, actually. I somehow keep finding ways to put into this whole thing. I've done enough damage. But it's also been so wonderful talking about this. I mean, I always thought you were really smart about it. Yuri smiles. I'll always be terrible at these things. People are just so incomprehensible to me. I'll never get the hang of being one. But listening to you so much has really helped me make sense of some things. So just don't call it damage, please. Monica gives Yuri a gentle smile. I can't believe I came to this club looking for fantasy geeks, and all I got was real friends who value me. Is that a joke? Of course it is. I still can't tell with you. Sorry. No, I left. Please never change. As you wish. Yuri glances at the clock. We're almost out of time. Will you be able to finish? Before the end of the day, probably. But I don't want to come to the club the same day that Natsuki reads it. I'm too shy. I can give it to her instead if you like. Yuri nods. As long as you promise not to read it. Of course. I promise. Thank you. Yuri exhales, and the two stand up. I'll message you when it's ready. Monica nods. Good luck. I'm here if you need me. Yuri returns a nod, and the two depart. Yeah, that was nice. Alright, before we go, let's look. Some music. Let's see. Oh, look at all this music right here. Alright, pictures. Ooh. Finish the side story reflection 2. See anything else? Oh yeah, the picture. Scene from the side story reflection of Monica and Yuri helping Yuri write a letter. Then the staircase, I believe. See. Ooh. Oh. A rough concept sketch of what the faceless protagonist might have looked if he was a real character. So this is what he would have looked like if he was animated, or not animated, drawn in the actual game. Nice. At least we have an idea of what the protagonist looks like. Really nice. Alright, look at the mails. Okay, I've lost her. OMG. Okay, who's responsible for creating a Twitter account? Oh. This I know. Oh boy. Okay, who's responsible for creating a Twitter account for Monica? I think it's hilarious, but for God's sake, don't tell Paula. It would get a 404 in a microsecond. Are you just relying her tweets manually, or did you code some kind of pass-through layer to automate it? Based on the concept of tweets, except not screaming for help, I assume they're coming from the control simulation. Yeah, in case of some of you might not realize, if you go on Twitter and type up Monica, you can actually follow her on Twitter, but I'm not 100% sure if she'll respond back. So, in any case, there's just one more left to go. That's self-love. With Yuri passing that letter to Natsuki. I can't wait to see what happens next. But, we'll save that for the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you for more Doki Doki Literature Club.